The veterinarian was having another routine Tuesday morning when the elderly man walked in with his German Shepherd. She'd seen thousands of dogs in her career, but when she bent down to examine this one and noticed the metal tag hidden beneath the thick fur, her hands began to shake. This wasn't just any dog. This was a warrior. Welcome to Dog Vision TV. Before we dive into this incredible story of loyalty, service, and recognition, tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from today? And if you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, hit that subscribe button. These heroes need our voices. The Riverside Veterinary Clinic sat quietly on Maple Street, its waiting room filled with the usual Tuesday morning crowd. Pet owners scrolled through their phones, while cats meowed from carriers and young dogs tugged at their leashes. At exactly 9:43 a.m., the front door chimed softly. An elderly man entered, moving slowly but with purpose. He wore a faded flannel shirt, well-worn jeans, and a baseball cap that had seen better days. Beside him walked a German Shepherd, gray around the muzzle, limping slightly on his right front paw. The man's name was Robert Chen, though he'd never mentioned his last name when making the appointment, just Robert, and Max needs a checkup. The receptionist had noted his quiet demeanor, the way he spoke softly to his dog, and how he'd paid in cash without asking about costs. Dr. Sarah Mitchell emerged from the back office, clipboard in hand. She was in her early 30s, 5 years into her veterinary career, and had developed an eye for reading both pets and their owners. Something about this pair felt different, though she couldn't place what it was. "Robert?" she called gently. The man looked up, nodded once, and helped his German Shepherd to his feet. Mac moved carefully but obediently, his dark eyes alert, despite his age. As they followed Dr. Mitchell into examination room 3, she noticed the dog's posture, disciplined, controlled, unlike most pets who fidgeted or showed anxiety in unfamiliar spaces. "What brings Max in today?" Dr. Mitchell asked, washing her hands at the small sink. "He's been favoring that front paw," Robert replied simply. "Nothing dramatic, just want to make sure he's comfortable." She knelt beside the examination table where Max sat perfectly still. No restraint needed, no nervous panting. The dog's behavior was remarkable, almost military in its precision. "How old is Max?" she asked, gently palpating the dog's leg. 12, maybe 13. Hard to say exactly. Dr. Mitchell paused. Most owners knew their pet's age to the month. She continued her examination, checking Max's joints, feeling for swelling or heat. The German Shepherd remained motionless, accepting her touch with a patience that spoke of extensive training. That's when she saw it. Hidden beneath the thick fur around Max's neck, partially concealed by his collar, was a metal tag. Not a typical pet ID tag. Something heavier, more official. As she gently moved the fur aside to get a better look, her breath caught. The tag was worn and weathered, but the engraving was still visible. Max, K9, Unit 847, U.S. Army, Afghanistan, and 2018 to 2020. Her hands began to tremble slightly. This wasn't just any dog. "Sir," Dr. Mitchell said quietly, her voice carrying a new tone of respect, "is Max a military working dog?" Robert looked down at his hands, then back at her. For a moment, he seemed to be deciding whether to answer. Finally, he nodded. "Was. Retired now. 3 years this October." What was his specialty? Explosive detection, forward operations. Robert's voice was matter-of-fact, but Dr. Mitchell caught the subtle change in his posture. Straighter now, more defined. He saved a lot of lives over there. She continued her examination with renewed reverence, understanding now why Max's behavior was so distinctive. This dog had been trained by the best, had served in one of the world's most dangerous environments, and had earned his place among America's four-legged heroes. "The limp," she said gently. "Is it service-related?" Robert hesitated. "Kandahar province. IED went off about 50 meters from our convoy. Max found it first, started alerting, but the blast still caught us. Shrapnel in his shoulder. Army vets did good work, but—" He shrugged. "Sometimes it bothers him when the weather changes." Dr. Mitchell felt her eyes moisten. She'd heard stories of military working dogs, but she'd never met one, never touched a hero. "Dr. Mitchell," Robert said softly, "Max doesn't like a lot of fuss. He's just a dog now, retired. Sleeps on my couch, steals my sandwiches, chases squirrels in the backyard." But as she looked into Max's intelligent brown eyes, Dr. Mitchell saw something that contradicted Robert's words. This wasn't just a dog. This was a veteran, a warrior who had served his country with the same dedication as any human soldier. "How did you two end up together?" she asked, while gently examining Max's shoulder. "I was his handler. Staff Sergeant Robert Chen, 847th Military Police Company. When Max's service ended, I put in for adoption. Couldn't let him go to just anybody." Robert's voice softened. "We've been through too much together." The examination room fell quiet, except for the sound of Max's steady breathing. Dr. Mitchell completed her assessment. The limp was mild arthritis, manageable with medication and rest, but what she'd discovered was so much more than a simple injury. "There's nothing seriously wrong with his paw," she said finally. "Some anti-inflammatory medication should help with the arthritis." "But Robert, Max, thank you, both of you, for your service." Robert looked surprised. He'd grown accustomed to Max being invisible in civilian life. Just another old dog, unremarkable to most people. As Dr. Mitchell prepared Max's medication, she made a decision. She stepped out of the examination room and spoke quietly to her staff. "The German Shepherd in room 3 is a retired military working dog, Afghanistan veteran. I want to make sure his visit is complimentary." The receptionist's eyes widened. "Really?" He seemed so calm, so professional, Dr. Mitchell finished. "That's exactly what he is." When she returned to the room, Robert was kneeling beside Max, speaking to him in low, reassuring tones. The bond between them was unmistakable, not just pet and owner, but partners who had depended on each other in life or death situations. "The visit is on us today," Dr. Mitchell said, handing Robert the medication. "It's the least we can do." Robert started to protest, but she held up her hand. "Some things are more important than money. Max earned this." As they prepared to leave, Dr. Mitchell knelt one more time beside Max. This time, she wasn't examining him as a patient. She was honoring him as a hero. "Good boy, Max," she whispered. "Thank you for keeping us safe." Robert and Max walked slowly through the waiting room, past the other pet owners who remained unaware of the history that had just walked among them. The receptionist gave them a subtle nod of respect, and Dr. Mitchell watched from the doorway as they made their way to an old pickup truck in the parking lot. Max jumped into the passenger seat with practiced ease, settling in for the ride home. Robert closed the door gently, then looked back toward the clinic. He raised his hand in a small wave, not just to Dr. Mitchell, but in acknowledgement of something deeper. As their truck disappeared down Maple Street, Dr. Mitchell remained in the doorway, thinking about the quiet heroes who walk among us every day. Max wasn't wearing his uniform anymore. His service record wasn't displayed on his collar. But his dignity, his training, and his loyalty remained unchanged. Some warriors retire from active duty, but they never stop being warriors. That afternoon, Dr. Mitchell couldn't stop thinking about Max and Robert. She researched military working dogs and learned about their extensive training, their dangerous missions, and the deep bonds they form with their handlers. She discovered that these dogs save countless human lives, often at great personal risk. Most retire into obscurity, living quiet lives as beloved pets. Their service goes unrecognized, their heroism invisible to a civilian world that has no idea what they've sacrificed. But sometimes, if you know what to look for, you might spot the signs. The perfect posture, the alert eyes, the calm confidence that comes from having served in the world's most challenging environments. Max returned to the clinic 6 months later for his regular checkup. His limp had improved, and he seemed more relaxed, more comfortable in his retirement. But when Dr. Mitchell knelt beside him, she still saw the warrior beneath the gray fur. Some heroes walk on 4 legs, and sometimes they're sitting quietly in your veterinary waiting room, their service hidden beneath a beloved pet's exterior, waiting for someone who knows how to look past the surface and see the courage underneath. So I ask you, have you ever met a hero without knowing it? A retired service dog, a veteran, someone whose courage shaped our world while remaining invisible to most? Share their story in the comments. Let's make sure their service is remembered. If this story touched you, subscribe to Dog Vision TV. We're here to honor the 4-legged heroes who serve alongside our military and first responders. Their stories deserve to be told. And remember, the next time you see an older dog with perfect posture and intelligent eyes, you might be in the presence of a warrior. Show them the respect they've earned. We'll see you in the next story. Until then, thank you to all who serve on 2 legs and 4.